Aloha, friends and neighbors. Welcome to program 933. We're going to do the sky mirror kind of quickly and get through it. I know you're in the turbulent zone, and then I'm going to play you a show that I did as a guest where a very bright man asked some very cogent questions, and I want to share it with you. And so sky mirror first, and then a recording of an interview I did. All right, here's your chart. You're in the turbulent zone. The important things are, well, besides having the wind come around and knock things around, is Venus is sextile Mars. It's very romantic, very sexy. Towards the end of your week, the Venus-Mars thing trines Neptune. It gets very dreamy, sexy and dreamy for a lot of folks. But the upshot is Mercury going direct here on the 25th is doing that, opposing Uranus. Now we had a full moon on Uranus, and so this is a shaky, quaky, twirly month, and we're probably going to see some of that in Hawaii. How's it look day by day? Let's check it out. We're going to run the moon around the edge of this pattern and try to give you the good ones and the poor ones. If you're on the Thursday show, the moon's in Leo, you're doing fine. In the morning, there's a nice trine to Uranus. Good time to study astrology. The moon's going to go by Jupiter. Lightning bolts of truth appear Friday afternoon. It's a really busy Friday. There's a lot of action here. And a lot of it is very social. There's the Mars-Venus thing. Mercury's happy, hasn't gone retrograde yet. There's the sun. The only problem comes up with the square to Saturn in the middle of it all. This around dinner time, and suddenly there's a cold, and I don't have enough money, and there's a delay, and it's a little scary. Other than that, boy, action-packed Friday. Very interesting day. On Saturday the 18th, the moon shifts into Virgo after lunch, and there's a more earthy feel to it, and it starts to get a little confusing because here's an opposition to Neptune. This occurs Saturday night about 10-11 o'clock here in Hawaii. Add 2-3 hours for the West Coast. And, you know, this could be problems with water and liquids too. Sunday, the moon's still in Virgo on the 19th, and there's a nice trine to Pluto, so it feels like we have some control and we're investigating properly. Not too bad, as you go through Sunday. Monday, the moon's still in Virgo, and in the morning early, there's a nice sextile to Saturn. The thing is, Mars is in square in the middle of the day in the afternoon, so there's a tendency to lose your temper and get angry and impatient. Ask yourself what you're protecting. You're all organized in the morning. Don't go too fast, or you'll muck it all up. On Tuesday the 21st, the moon shifts into Libra, and you start getting the heavy action. And here comes the wind, and here comes freaky electronic stuff, and a very strange quality, because the full moon was here. And so it starts kind of panicky at dinner time with the square to Pluto, and then everybody feels a little bit alone early Wednesday morning as the moon hits that opposition to Uranus. There's also the full moon, which happened at 14 degrees. And let's see, where are we? That's 10, 14. Yeah, it's going to be in the middle of the night. I hope this isn't alarm bells going off, but there's difficulties. It's Tuesday night and the Wednesday morning, and nothing settles down much till you get to Wednesday evening, when there is a sextile to Jupiter, and Mars and Venus start to kick in. It becomes social and romantic Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. There is a new moon here. New moon is in Scorpio, 1 degree of Scorpio. Happens late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, the 23rd. A lot of stuff tends to happen on new moons. It gets quaky on new moons, But Thursday's very social. Thursday morning is the romantic social time. Here in the morning and the noontime, we have the nice conjunction to Venus. And it gets sexy, and it gets romantic and pleasurable. Pretty nice. Thursday evening and dinner time, and after dinner, there's a trine to Neptune, and it gets positively dreamy on Thursday. But I'm really concerned because we have a lot of wind here Tuesday, Wednesday. So maybe I'm asking too much from these good angles here. But it seems like you got some control on it Friday morning on the 24th when there's a nice sextile to Pluto. But then Friday night there's a square to Jupiter. We're trying to do too much. And then 2-3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning on the 25th, moon goes by Saturn, and there's some limitations here, definite limitations, as the moon goes through the rest of Scorpio. After dinner it changes into Sagittarius, and on Sunday morning, really early, this is 2-3 o'clock in the morning, there's a nasty square to Neptune, more problems with liquids again. But by Sunday evening, here's a nice trine to Uranus and a sextile to Mercury, and hopefully they fixed some of your wires, and your Wi-Fi and your cable television is starting to work again. Maybe that just indicates the big wind wasn't that bad, huh? Hope so. Now, what follows is an interview with Dr. Kimo. He's a psychologist, a very bright man. Asked all the right questions of the astrologer, and that's why I want to share the interview with you. It's 30 minutes long, so we're going to split it up and give you some of it today and then some of it next week. I meant to give this to the folks on the Big Island, but the producer of this show, after I gave you the date on the 28th, 29th, put it off to the 6th or 7th, and it's too late to tell you. So here it is now. I hope you enjoy.
Aloha and welcome back, Big Island. You're watching Rise Above Hawaii, which is a 30-minute talk story, and my name is Dr. Kimo, your host, and we have 30 minutes of talking to our famous astrologer, if you will. Is it Rollin Frost?
Yes, thank you.
Now, Frost is a famous name, right? I came to two rows, and I chose the left or the right. What is that? The one less traveled?
Robert
is that
Frost, yes.
Robert Frost. Okay.
Yeah. That's what you got to do if you're going to study astrology. It's the road less traveled.
It is the road less traveled.
Oh, yeah.
And the last time I got you on the show, we talked about carbon monoxide, and because you're a public health, actually service provider for many years, and so we went off on that tangent. But what I really wanted to talk about is astrology.
Good.
Because it is the road less traveled. There's a lot of misconceptions about astrology.
Boy, are there.
And I see your show on the local network, and I like it. I think it's another way of understanding natural phenomenon, if you will.
That's a good start.
Is that a good start?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you get into it, though? I mean, was it
accidentally?
When?
My ex-wife Beverly had an eidetic memory.
What does that mean?
Like she had memorized things really easy.
Oh.
And she got a hold of a book that gave you moon signs of people, which changes every 2.5 days.
Okay.
And so she could look up your moon sign. And the moon sign, they call it personality, but it's actually your face. And your moon in the chart is your mother originally. Okay, wow. Sun's the father, moon's the mother. Wow. So little baby lies at the breast and looks up and sees a big moon face.
Oh, because the mother, yeah.
Yeah, and the moon goes cuckoo and the baby goes cuckoo and copies it. There's no words. It all comes from the limbic brain like a mammal.
Like nonverbal cues.
Yeah, and it's all personality. It's all sounds, facial expressions, body language.
Interesting, and the baby picks that up.
Copies it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like an imprint.
Yes.
Like a duckling.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
In fact,
loving it already. You got loving this interview already.
One of the funniest stories I know is I had a dog died recently, but I got her when she was real small,
okay.
Julie, and raised her myself. And that dog would sit there and look at me and do expressions, and it was my mother.
No.
Yeah, my mother died 10 years ago, but there was my mother right on that dog's face. Oh. And it shocked me at first until I realized I got my mother's face. The dog copied my face.
Oh my gosh. So is it safe to say I got my mother's face?
Yes. Or the lady that you were around in that first year or two. Because you'll see grandmothers fighting over babies because they want to have their face imprinted partially
right.
on
And
the baby's
this happens
face.
all subconsciously. right?
Yeah.
With the grandmothers fighting for which baby, right? Because
But you know, a very large section of your brain is set up for face recognition. A policeman can spot one face out of 10,000.
That's so true.
You've got so many abilities in that face thing from the mammals.
No, that's amazing. Because wow, I've never had that explained to me. Because my mom, she talks with her eyebrows. You know, she's always very expressive, and so people say, "Oh, what do you do? Talk with your eyebrows?" I said, "I don't know how I got it. We got it from my mother."
Well, if you know somebody's mother, you just you can draw a circle.
And that's the moon face.
Yeah, and you'll see their mother's face.
Amazing.
It is. So Beverly, had this ability to memorize, and she got this book, and she's looking up all of our friends. And she said, geez, Raleigh, you know, here we got 5 friends who have moon in Capricorn. And I named them, bang, 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 bang. And when I looked at their faces, they all had kind of old faces. Capricorn has an old kind of a face.
A grouchy face?
No, not grouchy, but stern, you know.
Stern.
It's a manager, it's the
CEO.
CEO. It's like the old man. It could be Santa Claus or it could be Scrooge.
Oh, either way. Okay.
And I said, wow, and I looked and I saw these old faces. And then she says, and here's 5 other friends, we have Gemini faces, Gemini moons. And she names them up, and I flashed them in my mind, and they had faces like little kids.
Oh,
Gemini.
Cheerful.
Yeah, hot, cheerful, movable, childlike, actually young looking compared to the Capricorn old looking face.
Young looking face.
And I said, geez, there's something to this.
Okay, wait, so Capricorn, Gemini, how many moons are there?
12.
Oh, like the months?
Yeah.
There you go, the horoscope. That's why on a monthly basis you can kind of give out information.
Yeah, well, a monthly basis is one of the problems we've got
in
astrology. Is that, let's see, how far back shall I go?
When did it become a monthly thing? Or is that a misconception of true astrology? It's not really a monthly thing. It's a
well, the way they
moon
do it,
phase thing.
The way they do it in our culture is a monthly thing, because you see in the newspapers.
Yeah, always the horoscope part.
Yeah,
really built it up under Dear Abby, you know that whole.
Well, it's ruined astrology in the U.S. It just ruined it.
Why in the U.S.? Is the U.S. the one that made that?
Yeah,
shift?
it was a lady named Evangeline Adams, and when the newspapers first started printing these astrology columns, there were 2 or 3 astrologers that got in there and did this sun sign stuff.
Right.
And they wrote books on it, and they got in there and made a lot of money. But see, the sun is your father.
So they got so they took only one aspect of astrology and made it as if it's the whole astrology.
Exactly. And they did it, everybody knows what month they were born in. They're all into this. My month is a jewel for the garnet, for you know.
And ruby for this. And
yeah. So everybody, but it leads you totally astray. You read that crap in the newspaper, and it doesn't really fit very well. Actually, it will fit your father or your boss.
Because that's sun.
Yeah. And also, basically what you got from your mother is that round face, that personality. What you get from your father's character. You watch the way the men do things. The father, the coach, the teacher, but basically the father figures, the son. And how they go about doing things, you copy that. And we call it character.
Character versus personality.
Yes.
And the horoscope that we see today is we're thinking it's personality, but really it's not. It's character.
It's not even personality.
It's a whole mislead.
Yeah, it's a mislead. And it just ruined astrology.
Well, how would we fix it?
Good question. A lot of it is slowly changing now.
Okay.
And if you take a very broad perspective, every 2,000 years the age changes. Right?
Okay.
And we've had 2,000 years of the age of Pisces.
Okay.
Ruled by Neptune. And Pisces hates Aquarius. Aquarius is astrology. It's the planet Uranus.
Oh, okay.
So we're all used to those 7 inner planets, the 7 days of the week, right?
Oh.
Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Mars and Venus, Saturn and Jupiter, they're a pair.
Oh.
But outside there we have Uranus and Neptune, and they're a pair too. And you can't see them.
Oh.
Okay, but they have to do with the signs Pisces and Aquarius. Now, the age of Pisces, I call them doctor, priest, artist, musicians.
Yeah.
And Pisces is kind of like religious thought and belief, okay? And it's wonderful. There's music and art and color and all this stuff, but they're scared of Aquarius. Aquarius is science.
Oh, so this contrasting kind of entities, if you will, energies.
Oh, yeah, they're right next to each other, but for a Pisces rising, Aquarius is on the 12th house, and they really fear it. Look at what science does to religion.
Yeah, messes it up.
Oh, boy,
Does
big
it?
time.
And there's even people who call them the religion scientists, Christian scientists. That even makes sense, the paradox. That's like saying jumbo shrimp. How is that possible?
Well, there's a lot of astrologers who do readings, and they're really doing Neptune stuff. They're doing telepathy, and they're masquerading. Or they're doing treatment, where, touchy-feely stuff like doctors.
Yeah.
That's not the role of an astrologer as a technical guy. You go into a hospital, there's nurses and doctors. Those are all
Right.
Pisces characters.
Okay.
Selling you drugs.
So the true astrologer, if you could tell me the true essence
He's an engineer. He's a scientist.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I am.
Okay, so how do you quantify your results as a scientist?
I just had to go and do 1,000 charts.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what I set out to do originally, because when I saw what was going on with astrology, and that most so-called astrologers, they haven't got a clue what the moon is.
Oh, because they're more focused on the sun.
They haven't got, they think the sun sign is everything. They got ruined. And so if they do a chart reading for you, they're going to tell you all about the sun. It's really your boss,
Yeah.
or something. And anyway.
So how can we get the moon readings then, besides, because we ain't getting it from the newspaper?
No, the real essence of what you are is the rising sign.
Oh, the rising sign.
The rising, what sign is coming up on the eastern horizon at your moment of birth?
That's better than the horoscope that we
The
get.
horoscope is actually a word that means the hour rising.
Oh. So
Ben Franklin said, that I can almost quote verbatim. He said, woe be to our generation and this thing, because we threw out astrology. He says, we owe this mischief largely to some of us. He said, some of those talented with the gifts of Urania, and he named...
he was into astrology?
Totally.
Benjamin Franklin?
He was a really good astrologer.
Wow.
That's what his yearly book, his almanac, or Richard, was all about astrology. It had all the places of the planets.
So a better description about who we are is our rising sign, because it's coming about, and that's going to be generate
hour.
Yeah.
So Ben said that in the ages past, no general would make war, no president would move something or do a big project without first consulting an astrologer to find the lucky hour.
The lucky hour.
The lucky hour.
Where all the moon was, everything was in alignment, and there was a time to go.
Oh yeah, if you're going to make a contract, Capricorn's pretty good for contracts.
Oh.
So now let's go back to this business of the ages.
Okay.
The age of Pisces hates astrology. It dissolves it into cartoons and religion, and astrology has been beaten badly.
Yeah.
And you wind up with the sun sign thing in the newspaper.
Yeah.
That isn't quite right.
Yeah.
So you say astrology, poo. You believe in that stuff?
Or some guys make it right. They go, that's me.
Well, they'll try, but if you're Leo rising, then sun is important. That you're like your father.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem has been going on for 2,000 years.
Yeah, so it's hard to just fix overnight.
Galileo was thrown in jail, because of astrology kind of stuff.
Why? Because they think it's anti-Christian or something, or
he said the sun, was. Anyway, I won't get it. Because if you go back to the last age, before the age of Pisces was the age of Aries, and that's Rome.
What year was that? Aries was Rome?
Yeah.
Oh.
Say, just be general and say birth of Christ, 0 to 2000 BC.
Yeah.
And when the Romans are Aries, they're Mars, and they love astrology. Every Roman soldier knew his chart.
Yeah.
And in a Roman town, there's a big clock, and it had the signs on it.
And they knew constellations, and they knew all of that?
Yeah, well, the constellations aren't too important in a way. That's another bullshit thing that kind of happened. To make the zodiac signs are really generated by the sun. It's the seasons from the sun.
So many misconceptions out there.
You have all these Hindus and Vedics that say it's a star field, and we're off by 20 degrees, and they confuse everybody. All this last 2,000 years has been very happy to confuse you about astrology. They don't want you doing that.
Yeah, because they think it's anti-something.
The average religious person will ask you if you believe in it, because they think you're going to believe in astrology over God.
What do you think about it?
I
Is it
think
possible to believe in God and astrology?
astrology will lead you right to God. It does everybody that gets into it and goes far enough, goes right back there. I brought this because
Okay.
this is,
You guys heard that? Astrology will lead you to God. Don't be afraid of it.
oh yeah.
Embrace it.
Well, it's hard if you read Jesus. Let's see. Moby Dick was a Honolulu astrologer for years, and he was a Baptist minister who went into it to debunk astrology.
Oh.
He learned it, and he said, this works, and so he became an astrologer.
Oh.
But his big thing was to go find the chart of Jesus.
Oh.
And he got one of the first computers that would go back and accurately do a chart 2,000 years ago.
Wow.
And started looking for it. And he was a Bible scholar.
So they can complement each other. They don't have to be polar opposites.
Yeah, but the Pisces people are so afraid,
Yeah.
that they'll burn you at the stake in a minute. 500 years of burning astrologers
Yeah.
at the stake.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, don't be afraid.
I mean, the best astrologer in Germany, and they had some good ones, was the best one, a guy in my bracket, was Karl Ernst Kraft. And he got interested in Hitler's rise, and he pinned down the day that Hitler was going to be bombed in the beer parlor or something.
And he got it.
And he got it exactly, and he put it in the newspaper a month before.
Wow.
And so it was quite a good piece of work. And
I think they're afraid of it because it can predict the future.
well,
In a
they got a
sense.
hold of him and decided to use him. And after they didn't use very well, he wound up in the camp, and he died in the concentration camp. And when Hitler's buddy went to England to try to learn peace, he had astrological symptoms all over him. And he got pissed off, but all the astrologers in the camps killed them all.
Wow.
So it's not exactly safe in the age of Pisces
Okay.
to be an astrologer.
And right now we're in the age of Pisces.
Well, we're out of it.
Oh, we just got
We're
out of
now, yeah, we just got out of it. And you can tell because of electricity
Oh.
and
What are we in the
internet,
age of now?
the age of Aquarius.
Oh, you see that?
So we got-
so different ages is different times. So
Yeah.
2,000 years, and we kind of transition to the next age, and the next age breeds itself to a different essence, if you will.
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
you can't beat the age of Pisces for music and art and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, the Renaissance.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but the age of Aquarius was, the Greeks and the Romans did science, they did wonderful
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Their roads are still good, their
Yeah,
aqueducts.
true that. Yeah.
There's a mechanism called the Antikythera mechanism. They found a ship off the coast of the old Greek ship, and they dug it up, and here was this lump of brass, and they started x-raying it, and it had 120 gears in it.
Wow.
And in the end, what they found out is you could take this thing and crank any date into it, and over here was the chart. Here was Mars and Venus and the moon and
Incredible.
everything. So this was the equivalent of what we just got.
So how
Now,
can
when I first started astrology
Yeah.
back 50 years ago, it took me 2-3 hours to make a chart. And I'm an engineer from Berkeley. I use a slide rule on it,
Yeah.
okay? Most people couldn't get that far. They don't know what a logarithm is.
Yeah.
But it was very hard to do. Then bang, along came a little computer, and another one, and another one. And now, one of my sons sells a little app for your iPhone for $5. It's called SkyMirrorAstrology.com. For $5, press a button, there's a chart of where you are right now in this place. Phenomenal, it's right in your pocket.
Tell us about that book. Is it
Okay, this book is about Mayan astrology,
Okay.
and it's done by a guy named Bruce Schofield.
Mayan. The Mayans.
Mayans.
Okay.
The Mayans had probably the best, better than the Greeks and the Romans.
Wow.
They had an incredible astrology.
But they said the world's going to end based on the Mayan calendar. Was that a
They
hype?
never said that.
Oh,
It's
who
just
said
more
that?
Pisces bull.
Oh, Pisces bull.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they love
making him look bad.
Yes.
Not good.
And they distorted into cartoons. Because I went back and read all that stuff. They never said that. What there's these cartoons every 20 years, the Mayans characterize these periods of 20-year periods. And I'll tell you, the one that's really tough comes up in 2032.
Wow.
And that, they're gonna be 20 years following that. It's very difficult. Crops failure, flooding, governments fail, civil wars. Probably that's global warming kicking in, see?
Oh, and so can you change the course of time? Like if you get a prediction from putting all what you do, all your hard work together on astrology, and you see something, the fact that you see it, can you change it? Or is it going to happen?
Just seeing it changes it.
Oh, like with Hitler, right? So that person that you mentioned, he saw what Hitler was going to do, and he wrote about it a month before it even happened. I mean, if I was that guy, I would want to change it before it happens. Or some things unchangeable.
Some things are unchangeable.
Okay.
I tell a little story, came out of the S training. I'll put this in perspective, okay? Every client I do all my work on DVD.
Okay.
I always start with this story.
Okay.
What's life all about, they say? Life is like a train ride,
Okay.
the S trainer said. When you're born, you get on this train, and the train takes you through life. And when you die, it takes you home to your family. He says, now while you're on the train ride of life, stuff happens. There's meals and movies and stops and goes and tunnels, all kinds of scheduled events on your train ride.
Yeah.
He said, now you could sit on the train ride all bummed out. Oh, the food's lousy. And these weird people come by and bug me.
Yeah.
And there's an irritating clickety-clack to the wheels, you know?
Yeah.
And scenery's going by too fast. Ugh. Or he says, you could sit on the train ride more enjoyably. Wow, the food's free. And these strange people come by to entertain me. What fun.
Oh.
And there's a nice rhythm to the wheels.
Oh.
And the scenery's going by nice and
Yeah.
fast. Great train ride.
Oh, positive or negative?
His
Reframe
point
it.
was, the train ride didn't change. It was the same old train ride. It was the person's attitude that changed.
Oh.
And that's where your free will is. It's in your attitude. Because once you decided to get in that body and you incarnated in that body,
Yes.
you climbed on the train. Now you picked it. You knew before you got in there what the train was like and what the schedule was.
Hey, that's Christian. That's some Christian thought too. They say in the spirit world, we chose the body and the course that we wanted to get into, and we just went into it. Our spirit entered our body, and
Yeah, but they had to postulate all this amazing free will.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And like the sign says, shit happens. You know? And that's what you pick up with astrology.
Okay.
If I do your chart, I don't get you, the internal you that hasn't changed since you were 8 years old. That's spirit. I get the body. So what's going to happen to the body? Maybe it's going to fall in love. Maybe it's going to get a new job. Maybe it's going to...
Oh.
And that's what I tell my clients. I never give them advice. I don't give them counseling. But you got to know what the train's doing. Because the more you know about the train, the better. You're the spirit riding in that body.
Oh.
The more you know about the train schedule, it gives you time to adjust your attitude.
Towards what's going to happen.
Yeah, one of my sons called me up and said, oh, I'm freaking, man, I got fired. I'm unemployed. I looked at his chart, Uranus was hitting. I said, no, you're free.
Oh, yeah. You're free. Different way to look at it.
Yeah, and
That's
that
a good way to look
actually
at it.
changes things. Everything on the train ride is affected by your attitude.
Yeah.
All right, next week we'll have the second half of this interview. Good stuff. Come on back then.